The courtroom smelled of old varnish and morning coffee. Rain ticked at the tall windows as 18-year-old Eli Mercer stood at the defense table, eyes hollow, wrists cuffed. Judge Whitlow cleared his throat, the sentencing document trembling slightly in his aging hands. Everyone expected it to end here. Another small-town kid gone bad. Another addict caught breaking into the wrong house. Then the K-9 handler walked in late, soaked from the storm, his dog tense at the leash. Seconds later, the dog growled, then barked, not at the boy, but at someone else entirely, and that bark shattered everything. The town of Lauren Hollow wasn't the sort of place that made national news. It barely made its own. An old sawmill town tucked in a dip between pine-covered ridges. It was more silence than motion, unless it was football night or someone's kid got caught doing something stupid. Eli Mercer was one of those kids. Not mean, not stupid. Just messed up. Courtroom 2B held maybe 30 seats, half of them filled with townsfolk clutching coffee cups or biting at knuckles. Sheriff Crane leaned against the wall in his beige uniform, arms folded, jaw clenched. The only sounds of the rain and the shuffle of boots as the bailiff adjusted his stance. And Judge Whitlow, leaning over the bench, glasses halfway down his nose. Eli Robert Mercer, you've pled guilty to felony burglary, resisting arrest, and possession of narcotics. Do you have anything to say before I render sentence? Eli licked his lips. His hoodie hung loose over his frame, and his eyes darted toward the back of the courtroom where his grandmother sat. Marla Mercer, face stone set, clutching her rosary even though she hadn't set foot in church in years. I wasn't breaking in, Eli said, voice raw. I thought someone was in there. Whitlow looked unimpressed. Son, we found you in that farmhouse with a busted window and stolen oxy in your coat. You expect me to believe you were playing detective? That's when the courtroom door creaked open. Officer Kate Danner stepped inside, soaked to the bone. Her K-9 Wesson, a sable German shepherd, padded beside her with fluid alertness. Every head turned. Apologies, Your Honor, Danner said. Didn't mean to interrupt. Whitlow frowned. You're not scheduled to testify. This matter's already pled out. I know, but Wesson insisted. The judge sighed, already annoyed. Danner had a reputation. Sharp, intense, too smart for the badge. Some said, not enough patience for procedure. Wesson sniffed the air. His ears perked forward. As Eli was about to speak again, Wesson jerked toward the gallery, past Eli, past the public defender, then let out a deep, pointed growl, straight at Vincent Madsen. Madsen sat stiff in a gray wool coat, lawyered up, expression unreadable. Owner of the house Eli had supposedly broken into, pillar of the community, ran the hunting supply store, gave to local charities. Whitlow squinted. Officer Danner, your dog's behavior, what's it indicating? He's scent trained, Danner said carefully. He's alerting on Mr. Madsen. Someone in the back let out a short, uncomfortable laugh. Madsen shifted. Your Honor, this is outrageous, he snapped. I've been nothing but cooperative. The boy broke into my home. That's the only story here. But Wesson wouldn't stop barking. Then the dog dropped into a sit. That meant something. Danner's face paled. Wesson's indicating drugs or biological trace evidence. Judge. He only sits when he finds something. Madsen stood up. You think I planted drugs in my own house? That's insane. Whitlow glanced at the bailiff, who already had one hand on his holster. Eli looked up confused. I told you I didn't break the window. It was already busted. Everyone froze. Danner stepped forward, voice even, requesting immediate search warrant on Madsen's property in person, Your Honor. There's something not right here. Vincent Madsen's eyes went cold. He turned to run. The bailiff tackled him mid-stride. Chaos erupted. Marla Mercer stood, rosary hitting the floor. Sheriff Crane grabbed his radio. And Eli, he just sat there, mouth open, still cuffed, outside the courtroom. Wind scraped across the courthouse steps as Madsen was hauled toward a patrol cruiser. Danner opened the back door, face hard as granite. Wesson sniffed again. His tail twitched. No bark this time, just silence. Inside the cruiser, Madsen finally spoke. You think that dog's gonna save your junkie kid? You don't know what you just started. Danner leaned close. He's not my kid. Madsen gave a crooked smile. He will be. You've already picked your side. Back in the courthouse, Judge Whitlow had cleared the gallery. He rubbed his eyes with his palm. Ms. Danner, explain. Danner stood at attention. Madsen's story never added up. Said he was gone that whole week, but utility logs showed power spikes during the time Eli says he was near the property. Wesson caught a scent trail not just of Eli, but something else, a third person. Blood. Why didn't you come forward before? I didn't have enough. Until today. Whitlow studied her a long moment, then looked at Eli. I'm vacating sentencing. For now. Public defender Larkey's nearly collapsed from relief. Eli blinked. So, I'm not going to jail. Let's call it pending further investigation, Whitlow said, then added with unsettling softness. But don't leave town. Later that night, Sheriff Crane poured 2 glasses of whiskey in his dark-paneled office. Kate Danner took one, didn't sip. She stared at the rain outside. Vincent Madsen isn't some random suspect, Crane said. No, she agreed. He's part of something. The blood trace Wesson picked up? I think it matches a missing girl from last year. Maybe more. Crane leaned back in his creaking chair. You really want to stir this up, Danner? Madsen's tied to the Hollow Ridge Brotherhood. You know what that means. I know what Wesson found. The sheriff studied her. And Eli, Danner's jaw worked undecided. I think he walked in on something. Something he wasn't meant to see. Crane tapped a finger against his glass. So what's your move? She didn't answer. She just slipped a flash drive onto his desk. Footage, she said, from Madsen's barn. Then she walked out. In the dark, empty barn behind Madsen's property, a light flickered above a freezer. Inside, evidence. A lock of red hair. A strip of fabric soaked in blood. A girl's necklace etched with the name Rosie. Wesson had already led Danner there. But she hadn't told anyone yet. Not even Crane. She had a plan. And it started with trusting the kid. No one else did. Even if it meant burning every bridge she had left. The rain had stopped, but the dirt roads around Madsen's property still oozed with mud. A soft fog clung low to the pine tree roots, and Wesson's paw prints vanished into mist behind Kate Danner's boots. She stopped just past the barn threshold, heart jackhammering beneath her rain jacket. The air inside was heavy, metallic, sour, old. Wesson stood beside the freezer and whined. She hadn't opened it again since last night, not without a warrant, but she already knew what was inside. Wesson never lied. The girl, Rosie Langford, had gone missing last fall, disappeared between school and home. 14, quiet, smart, no body ever found. Just a backpack half buried off the highway. Everyone said she'd probably run off. Everyone except her mother. And Wesson. Sheriff Crane arrived at 9:02 a.m., his cruiser groaning up the gravel drive. Kate was waiting under the lean-to with coffee she hadn't touched. He didn't get out right away. Just sat, watching the barn like it might breathe. Finally, search teams on their way. You should have waited. I know. He stepped out, boots crunching. You always do things backward? When backwards forward, yeah. Crane gave her a long look. You think Madsen killed her? I think Eli saw something. I think he ran, broke and trying to call someone, maybe grabbed painkillers because he panicked and hurt himself. Then Madsen twisted it into a burglary charge. And the oxy? Doesn't add up. Dosage was wrong for him. Sealed packaging. Like it came straight from somewhere clean. Not a stash. A supply. Crane cursed under his breath. Kate handed him the flash drive. Camera was in the rafters. Hidden feed. Madsen must have forgotten it was there. Crane popped it into his laptop inside the cruiser. For 30 seconds, he didn't say a word. Then, Jesus. Eli sat in a holding cell, hands still cuffed, though the charge had technically been suspended. The deputy on duty hadn't gotten the memo yet, or hadn't cared. The jail buzzed with fluorescent light and the distant hum of a vending machine. He heard the door open. Boot steps. Female. Not heavy. Danner. You hungry? He shrugged. I'm used to it. She slid a sandwich through the slot. Peanut butter. Grape jelly. The kind you give kids. You remember everything about that night? She asked, voice steady but softer than before. He nodded. I wasn't even going to go out there. My cousin dared me. Said Madsen's place was haunted. But when I got close, I heard, I dunno, crying. I went around back, and the window was already cracked. So I climbed in. She let the silence stretch. I saw something, he said finally, but it was fast. Barn door was open. There was this smell, not like anything else. And a freezer. He had it padlocked. I didn't even know what I saw until I ran. And Madsen, he came out of nowhere, thought he didn't see me. But he did. Kate's eyes locked on his. What did you see, Eli? He hesitated. I saw a necklace. What kind? He closed his eyes. It had flowers, and the name Rosie on it. By noon, the search team had found 3 separate traces of biological evidence around Madsen's barn. Hair fibers, blood spatter, and something worse. Teeth, small, juvenile, dislodged at the root. Kate knelt in the dirt beside the forensic unit as Wesson sniffed quietly behind her. Her stomach twisted with bile, but she didn't show it. Not here. Not now. One of the techs looked up. It's a kill site, or at least a holding spot. Any idea how long it's been there? Could be months. Freezer kept it preserved. Kate stood. Wind tugged at her sleeves. She could hear the creek babbling just past the tree line. It sounded wrong. Like it knew. That night, Vincent Madsen's name leaked to the press. Small-town journalists swarmed the sheriff's department. Someone snapped a picture of Eli being escorted out of holding, even though he wasn't charged anymore. By dinner, the internet had eaten him alive. Junkie. Thief. Lucky kid got saved by a mutt, someone tweeted. Marla Mercer threw her TV in the trash. Sheriff Crane watched the town unravel from behind closed blinds. Back at her cabin, Kate stared at old case files scattered across her table. Rosie Langford, sure, but also Lila Meyer, age 11, vanished 2017, never solved. And 10 years before that, Willa Cord, all girls, all under 15, all last seen within 30 miles of Lorne Hollow. There was a pattern. And Madsen wasn't just a man with a freezer. He was a collector. Kate's phone buzzed. Sheriff Crane. You're not going to like this, he said. What? Madsen lawyered up hard. They're already talking procedural misconduct. The arrest's shaky unless we get something that connects him to the other girls. She closed her eyes. The dog, said his probable cause. For Rosie, maybe, but Willa and Lila? We've got nothing but bones and suspicion. Kate stood, pacing. There's more on that property. Wesson thinks so, too. Crane hesitated. Then dig. They did, for 2 more days. Wesson led them to far end of the property. Near the slope were old foundations from a burnt-down farmhouse, still crumbled under moss. A place Madsen claimed he never touched. But they found cement slabs under the soil, freshly poured. Meanwhile, Eli sat on Kate's couch, legs tucked up, watching her pace. You think it's my fault she's dead? He asked. She stopped. No. I think you almost got yourself killed for trying to do the right thing. He gave a weak laugh. Didn't feel like the right thing. Doing the right thing rarely does, especially when no one believes you. He looked at Wesson, curled near the stove. He did. Kate nodded. Yeah, he did. At 4:43 p.m. on the 3rd day, the forensic team uncovered a second freezer. This one wasn't plugged in. Inside, fabric dolls, a ballet shoe, a set of initials carved into a popsicle stick, and a girl's rib bone. The forensics confirmed it. Willa Cord. The media exploded. The FBI stepped in. Madsen was charged with 3 counts of murder and transported to a federal holding facility under protective custody. But the damage had already been done. Eli had been painted a thief. Half the town still saw him that way. His grandmother stopped answering calls, said she was tired. said she didn't want to talk about it. The DA apologized formally. A press release. Cold. Detached. And Kate? She was summoned to an internal review. Why'd you push this? One of the attorneys asked. Why not let sleeping dogs lie? She just smiled, slow and humorless, because the dog wasn't sleeping. That night, as Miss curled over creek, Wesson sat beside the last stone they dug up. No freezer this time, just an old, rusted cross made of iron. Kate knelt. There was no body, just scratches in the earth, like someone had tried to crawl out. The forensics said it wasn't Rosie's, but the necklace was hers. The town wanted quiet now. It wanted its stories to fade into soft Sunday sermons and Little League games. But quiet was dishonest. Beneath the piney hush of Lauren Hollow, a hum had begun, low and uncomfortable, like the town had swallowed something it couldn't digest. The Hollow Ridge Brotherhood denied ever knowing Madsen, though Sheriff Crane found a dozen photos of him at their fundraisers. Clean-cut, flanked by judges, smiling with county supervisors, all of them pretending it meant nothing. Kate Danner wasn't pretending anymore. She was waiting. 2 weeks after Madsen's arrest, the FBI wrapped the crime scene. The second freezer had confirmed a link to Willicord, missing for 17 years. Then the DNA from the teeth matched Rosie Langford. That was enough for headlines, enough to give the town someone to blame. But something still stank, because Lila Meyer, the third girl, was never found, and Wesson hadn't stopped pacing the woods behind the barn. He still barked, sharp and unsettled, every time they neared the stream. Eli hadn't gone back to school. He couldn't, not with the whispers and the sideways glances. His name wasn't cleared so much as quietly dropped. He stayed with Kate. She didn't have much. A 2-bedroom cabin, a gas stove, with walls that smelled like firewood and pine cleaner. But it was safe. He slept better with Wesson curled at the foot of the couch, breathing slow and steady. One night, Kate slid a folder onto the coffee table. Eli glanced at it, then looked away. You should see it, she said. I already saw enough. You saw part of it, not the whole picture. He opened it. Photos. Rosie. Willa's mom crying in front of a sheriff's badge. A sketch of a man with a scarred jawline, and a blurry, still, grainy surveillance from Madsen's back trail cam. That's not Madsen, Eli said. No, it's not. Kate leaned forward. I think Madsen was a supplier, a keeper. Someone else picked the girls. Someone gave the orders. Eli stared at the photo again. That's the guy I saw. The one that ran when I came into the window. Kate's jaw tightened. The man in the photo was Judge Whitlow's brother. The next morning, Wesson barked at the courthouse. It was the same sound he'd made at Madsen. Sharp, intentional, targeted. But this time, it wasn't in a courtroom. It was near the records room. Kate followed him, heart hammering. She didn't tell Crane. Not yet. Wesson led her to the maintenance door behind the boiler hallway. Scratched the metal. Barked again. Then sat. She jimmied the lock. Inside, rows of old evidence boxes. Most tagged, labeled, except for one. No case number. No date. Inside it, a burn journal. Melted plastic dolls. A set of Polaroids. 12 of them. All girls. Including one they hadn't known about. Kate froze. The girl in the last photo was still alive. She had to be. That night, Kate drove to Sheriff Crane's cabin. His lights were off. The door was unlocked, and he was waiting in the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, bourbon already poured. You found the archive, he said. Kate stopped cold. You knew? I suspected. Years ago. I couldn't prove it, but I recognized Whitlow's brother in a photo, same as you did. Why didn't you say something? Crane's eyes were hollow. Because my daughter was Willa's best friend, and I wasn't ready to know what happened. Kate stepped forward, slow. So you covered it up? No. I shut down, let it slip away, and I've hated myself every day since. Kate sat down. There's still one girl. Still missing. Crane nodded. I know. Help me? He passed her the second drink. We're past drinks, Kate. The missing girl's name was Tasha Remley. No report had ever been filed. No family came forward. But Kate traced her through school rosters in another county. Transferred mid-year, vanished 6 weeks later. She was 12. And the last place she'd been seen? A charity event, hosted by the Hollow Ridge Brotherhood, on a plot of land that wasn't zoned. An old hunting cabin, 3 miles north of Madson's barn. They went in at dawn. Kate, Wesson, Eli, in the back seat of Crane's SUV. He insisted on coming. Said he had to see it through. They found the cabin. Locked. Wesson went stiff at the base of the steps, hackles raised. Kate stepped in first. It was dark. The floor creaked. A smell like rot and bleach hit her in the throat. They found a trapdoor under a rug. Nails held it shut. She pried them out with the butt of her flashlight, and when she opened it, a whimper from below. Tasha was alive, barely, wrapped in a blanket, eyes sunken, limbs trembling, but breathing. Kate carried her out. Wesson led the way. Crane called in the medevac. Eli sat on the porch, face pale, hands pressed to his knees. Tasha opened her eyes just once, looked at him and whispered, "You came back." He swallowed hard. "I didn't know." "It's okay," she murmured. "You did now." Judge Whitlow retired 2 days later. Claimed health reasons. His brother was found dead in a cabin outside Carson County. Gunshot wound. Suicide note. Crane never told Kate how he found him. She never asked. The town changed. Slowly. Unevenly. Some still whispered about Eli Mercer, called him the lucky one. Others left flowers at Rosie Langford's grave. Kate Danner didn't stay for the interviews, or the medals, or the fundraisers. She just kept working. And Wesson kept finding what no one wanted to see. One night, months later, Eli sat on the cabin porch with Wesson beside him, older but still alert. The stars blinked above, sharp against the mountain dark. Kate stepped outside and handed him a folded note, Tasha's handwriting. Just 3 words. "I remember you." Eli smiled for the first time in weeks. "Think they'll believe me now?" he asked. Kate sat beside him. "They don't have to," she said. Wesson laid his head on Eli's shoe and let out a slow, peaceful sigh. And for the first time in a long, long time, silence meant safety. Not shame. Not secrets. Just quiet. The good kind.